It is July 23rd, 2020. WIKISPEED Stand-Up. It's Michael Waltrip. Warren has sent a message that he's probably not going to be around for today, so I was just going to give my stand-up. And it's not a very long stand-up. I had plans to do a bunch of stuff, and I didn't get to any of it. I had some family visiting, and I didn't get anything done. Nothing done for last week and the week before. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. I did get something done last week, or the previous week. So I had ordered 3 new Raspberry Pis, actually Raspberry Pi 3B Pluses, not the Raspberry 4, and a power supply, and I did receive them. And I got a replacement board for the Suncatcher remote vehicle that had blown up one of my Raspberry Pis. So that's extra small of 0.5. My solar, off-grid solar system is not working perfectly, but it's okay. It's operational. It's running my LED work lighting, just a couple of work lights plugged in for a few hours. It charges the batteries on my Milwaukee cordless drill and impact. Keeps my phone and laptop charged while I'm there. And I had my soldering iron running for about an hour this week while I was working on the connectors. Not this week, previous week. And I worked on the end connectors for the solar panels. The solar panels are not aimed at the optimum angle, and I don't have a perfect south-facing location. But one panel is putting out 200 watts instead of 250. It's at a high angle and faces south. And the other one is at a low angle and faces west. So the first one produces peak power at about 12:45 and is pretty much done at 5 o'clock. The second panel doesn't start producing anything till 11, peaks at 4 instead of noon, and is done by about 8 p.m. So it's kind of fun to play with where they're aiming and how much power I can get out of them. And unfortunately, I don't have a data collection system keeping track of which panel is putting out how much current and what time of day or anything like that. It's just what I manually write down when I'm standing beside them. So I only gave myself a 1 for that one. I was planning, that was next week. Okay, so next week I'm hoping to work on my distance sensor. I got a 3-meter cable to test it so that I can have it partway into the tank, pointed into the tank when I'm doing my testing. I did point it down the hallway and move the sensor instead of moving the target, which is a door at the end of my hallway. It worked much better than trying to move a chair with a target inside my family room. The mount right now is just plugging it into the breadboard with a couple of resistors and bending it so that it sends the beam forward. I'm actually going to be making a cover out of a plastic, like a plastic ice cream container, the top of it. So that will be taped over top of the pipe and a hole cut through for the sensor to poke or to get its signal. That way I won't drop anything into the tank. So I think that'll work well. I got my tripod brought up to the lake, but I've been having trouble figuring out how to set it up so it doesn't actually block what I'm doing, which I know is ironic, but it's tough to shoot down a long hallway while having the laptop and the sensor in the field of view I wasn't very successful on that. And the distance sensor works better in the dark. I looked at the specs, and it does show that the signal is better when there's less light. I should have figured that much out 2 weeks ago. So I retested the sensor in the dark down my hallway, and I get much better results. I can get up to 3.85 meters. Averaging the results for several samples is okay. I no longer have to use the mean of the values, because apparently that had something to do with getting random values from the ambient lighting. So since it's a dark tank where I'm going to be using it, I don't have to worry about that. I dropped the number of samples from 100 down to 10, so I get the value, or I get a sensor reading quite quickly. So I gave myself a 1 for that. And the physical mount for the tank, I didn't actually take any pictures. I got something done, but it hasn't been tested, so I will go over that and do that next week. Bluetooth module. The Bluetooth module, the HC05, is not intended to be used for doing a keyboard interface. It is more to be used for an app. So I tried to download the app, an app development system, which was called Flutter, and I kind of got lost in the details. So I'm going to try maybe get that working. There's a web version of it. So as soon as I get the Flutter updated, or Flutter installed on my laptop and get it running, I will try building a module for building an app, I guess, for Android. You should be able to build Android, Apple, and a web at the same time. So I will give that a shot. All I really want to do is get the level sensor working, reporting back properly. At that point, I will be able to do a little bit of data gathering and find out how quickly my tank level changes and that kind of stuff. A newer version of the HC05 called an RN42 is a little bit more expensive, and it will act as a Bluetooth keyboard, which means you should be able to pair it with a phone, and then because the Android is acting as a keyboard, I should be able to have it text just short messages to my phone on WhatsApp or whatever, and have the data just in plain text. So, liquid level now 1.5 meters, 30% left, 0% change in the last 24 hours, that kind of stuff. And that's what I'm hoping we're going to be using for the Little Red Wagon project, as a little bit more involved, so that we can actually interface the Arduino and find out what direction the beacon is and what direction it is trying to move. Basically just status information, or status coming back, so that I can troubleshoot. I've had lots of fun trying to get troubleshooting information off of real-time systems in the past, and I'm trying to plan for this one to be a little bit easier. That pretty much wraps up the first part of Stand-Up. Second part is retrospective. I'm going to give myself a 5 for the last 2 weeks, because I made some progress 2 weeks ago. I did not make any progress last week. So, and I didn't make Stand-Up last week either. So I'm going to give myself a 5. I think that's probably even a little bit higher than it should be. And the team, I'm going to give a 6, because we haven't successfully had a meeting for 2 weeks now. And I do not have a process improvement. So that pretty much wraps up Stand-Up for the day. I will get this this recording out and posted, and then I'll send in my stand-up email, and hopefully I'll get more of this stuff done this coming week. That about wraps it up. No, obviously there's no crosstalk with myself, so that will be it for this week.